Have you ever had extreme deja vu? A sense that you're just repeating the same thing over and over? Well, this is a song for you then. That's right, it's case file 0107048 again and again. Starting at the beginning, we had to make sense of a few of the lyrics. While it sounded like the vocalist was singing Peyton Crescent, a community in Australia, it was eventually fairly clear that they were instead singing Paid to Present, though they were definitely singing Listen to Me Biggles, and it was believed that Biggles referred to this fictional character. We also, frustratingly, didn't know a lot of details about the song's origins outside of it being played on a UK radio station in the early 90s, and the DJ ostensibly not knowing who the song was by. We really had very little to go off of, though it was theorized that, given the lack of options in the early and mid-90s, this likely aired on a local radio station as opposed to a national one. One user also reached out to the John Peel wiki, Peel himself being an infamous British rock DJ with hundreds of unidentified tracks, and the wiki owner did give us a DJ to look into, adding this could be a session recording, which is a one-off recording, sometimes only for radio. Then a new and seemingly promising lead, a band called the Rockefellers with a song called Again and Again. There was also a song called Again Again by a band called Swell, but it turned out that not only was the track too short, but the vocalist female, ruling this one out. We also found a song called Again and Again by Smirkic, though a Discogs user did say that it wasn't our mystery song, with the immensely unhelpful note that Smirkic sounded, quote, similar, but different. For what it's worth, user Erin actually bought the album and uploaded it to archive.org in case you were worried about that Discogs reply. There was also a band called Bullets and Blue Eyes with a song called Living in a World, but they too were ruled out. Oh, and there was yet another band called Hot Flashes with a Z that had a song called Passing Lane, and they too were ruled out. Speaking of Passing Lane, which, if you were confused, comes from the lyrics, there was discussion about whether that was an American phrase, but, well, it's a global phrase, so no. However, the pronunciation of zebra as zebra would suggest this band being from the United Kingdom. And, well, that's pretty much it. Despite being one of the longer searches on the FMM server, there's surprisingly little activity you're searching for this song. Maybe this video will finally put Paid to Present. Or maybe it'll be paid to now listening to. Have you ever had extreme deja vu? That sense that you're just repeating the same thing over and over? Sorry, never mind. This song is a song for you then. That's right, it's time for case file 0107048 again and again. I guess I should tell you about the somewhat shady, or at least bad/unreliable original poster on this one to start. He had uploaded the song to YouTube, saying he recorded it off British radio in the early 90s, and then the sample was made private and that original poster disappeared, so that's really all we had to go off of. And we also made note of how bad the recording was, super bass heavy. As user aidnic would say, the quality was ass. We also had lyrics that, while understandable, prompted many questions, like who the heck was Biggles, as in the lyric, listen to me Biggles, you've burst enough dams. Well, while this fictional character seemed like an option, some wondered if it could be a band like this one, though their characterization as Christian comedy rock would certainly make them unlikely. We'd also discussed the lyric living life in the passing lane, including asking if that phrase was US specific, but it wasn't. Oh, and the lyrics would also lead to suggestions of numerous alternate titles, including Matador, Wipeout, or Turbo Wipeout, Passing Lane, and my own suggestion, Wordplay. It's also worth noting that the song notably censors the word ass, and while some would believe this would give credence to this being a radio edit, it did theoretically air on the radio after all. Others would believe it could be an intentional choice. And just in case you were wondering, yes, we did go through numerous songs called Again or Again and Again, but they were all ruled out. And honestly, it feels like, never mind. Let's just say they're not worth mentioning. I guess, really, the point here is this song is either called Again and Again and is super obscure, or has some ridiculous title, like Now Listening To. Have you ever had extreme deja vu? That sense that you're just... Look, you're not going to believe this, but I'm repeating... You know what? Never mind. Not worth even trying to explain. Let's get to case file 0107048 again and again. I don't know exactly where to start with this. Let's see. It was recorded off UK radio in the early 90s and was recorded in absolute ass quality. The original poster disappeared and we can't get more information out of them, so we're stuck with what we have. Which is, well, lyrics seemingly about a historical figure, about a passing lane, which is a fairly global expression they turn out, and about metaphors, matadors, and Volkswagen Golf turbos. Of course, this led to multiple possible names and tracks we looked into and rolled out, like Passing Lane by Hot Flashes, and Again by the Rockefellers, and Again by Swell, and Again by Fold. We also did look into a YouTube comment saying this sounded similar to a band called Garp, but that too led nowhere. Other notable things about this song, let's see. Well, C.W. Schultz did a video about it. I don't think I've told you that in any of these loops before. There was also discussion about the term passing lane. Yeah, probably not super relevant as it turns out to be a global term. A more likely sign of where this could be from is the pronunciation of zebras as zebras, which is how it's pronounced in the UK. Well, the UK and Australia. Oh, Australia. I don't think I've mentioned that yet. But I think I'm at the point where I'd be wrapping this up, so I'll tell you next cycle. Let's go. I'm Person Distraction, and I'm Now Listening To. Have you ever had extreme deja vu? I have, because I've been making this video over and over again. I'm just telling you because nothing matters at this point. I'm just going to keep repeating things anyway. Still, I guess I have to do things. Maybe there's just one thing that I need to do to stop this. So let's try once more. It's case file 0107048 again and again. Okay, speed round. From what we know, the original poster of this vanished after uploading the sample to YouTube and then privating the video. In that video, the original poster mentioned having recorded this song off British radio in the early 1990s. We looked through numerous songs called Again or Again and Again, but nothing came of that, nor did alternate titles based on the lyrics like Passing Lane, which is more of a global term than most of us thought, or Turbo Wipeout. The lyrics were in fact saying paid to present and not Peyton Crescent, a small suburb in Australia. But, Neil Scratch, let's talk about Australia, because I haven't done that yet. So, again, touching on the lyrics, the pronunciation of zebra as zebra would indicate this song as either British or Australian. And since this theoretically aired on UK radio, it being British would certainly make more sense. However, what if it was, hypothetically, an international music show? And what if there was actually something in the lyrics that potentially support this? See, the last few times, I guess I should say, in the lyrics, there's a line, "Listen to us, Biggles, you've burst enough dams." We had assumed that it referred to this fictional character, but, well, this Biggles had nothing to do with dam busting. Marktrail, however, would point out this Australian historical figure, Gareth Evans, who got nicknamed Biggles after the fictional character because of his opposition to the construction of Franklin Dam and his use of spy planes with, get this, overhead cams. Now, Marktrail notes that it'd be a bit odd since this had been quite a bit prior to the early 90s, but, well, it's certainly worth considering. And since I haven't done this yet, although I don't know it'll change anything, if you're so inclined, I'd love it if you could bust my YouTube dam by liking and subscribing. Anyway, since I'm not sure what is going to stop this repeat, never mind. Let's just say there's still a lot of work that could be done on this song. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop looping. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop thinking about this song until it's solved. So let me pull a Columbo and say just one more thing. See, let's go off the assumption that the weird original poster, which is a conversation that I might have to have on some future loop or on some future video, was being honest, and this was from early 90s British radio. Well, from my research, one thing that hasn't been looked into, unless I'm mistaken, is PRS, the British Musicians' Rights Database. That is in part because it requires a number of steps to gain access to it. But, well, I have taken those steps. I have access to it. And so I should go through the results for again and again in PRS. I'll have to go through them manually, though PRS is at least nice enough to give us registration dates, you can't really filter for them. But going through them and pulling results from the early 90s should be doable. I can't imagine there's that many results at 882 results. Well, at least I seemingly have infinite time to go through them. Until next time, I'm Personal Distraction, and I'm now listening to.
Listen to me, bagels, you bust enough dams. Now clear your cloudy mind, forget your overhead fans. Enough of the wordplay, I'm going to get cross. You're not fit to wipe my underpants. Kiss my